interesting location. This is Peter. He gave a very interesting and passionate speech. Then we had Andrew Dempster, Professor Andrew Dempster. He's the Director of Australian Centre for the Space Engineering Research Centre up in the University of New South Wales. Andrew is once again a leading voice in the field. He's published several articles in the Conversation, for those who have seen that online news outlet. But he's written multiple papers and stories about where he thinks Australia should be going. Part of his group up there at the University of New South Wales have recently launched, or had launched from the International Space Station, some CubeSats. I'm not sure what Andrew Rennie's reported on that on the space show, the radio show. But he's a leading voice and had got a very passionate and no holds barred presentation. And what we did, we decided to have the presenters do a presentation, 15 minutes, and then at the end of it have a forum, which was actually really good. And then we had Andrea Boyd, who's originally from South Australia and is an ISS flight controller stationed in the European Astronaut Centre in Cologne. So she speaks to the astronauts on orbit. So she's there, she helps them in their training, helps them in the preparation, and then actually works with them while they're on orbit. But she had to go upstairs, excuse me, to get a job in the space industry. So she's a big effort once again for getting Australia to make some more progress in that area. And there's a website that she and a bunch of other expat Australians working in the space industry run called Quokka Space. So if you want to go and have a look at that, you find all the bios and the activities, all those people. There's actually a lot of people working over it. Then we had Tim Parsons, who's a co-founder and push forward space industry companies in Australia. So he was very passionate and very good speaker actually. Then we had Katie Mack, who was actually, for those who were here last month, was actually speaking here at the meeting last month. She didn't do a feature speech, but she gave a bit of involvement in the forum itself. So she had another local voice, well, Canadian voice, but American voice. Yeah. So this is how it set out afterwards. This is the forum area where we had questions, asked via Twitter and Facebook, which we then presented to the speakers, and that worked quite well. So this is the Motley crew. I did a little presentation there on the association. And this is Troy McCann, who's the head of Moonshot X, once again a startup incubator company. He's working with different corporations and businesses to get sponsorship and business started in Australia. So he was actually very instrumental in helping us put this event together. He sourced the venue and did a massive amount of work, so very thankful to Troy. We're going to have him along here one day. He's got some really cool things in the pipeline, but he wants to wait till he's got stuff to announce to come along. So we'll advertise that obviously when we have it secured. So this is just a few scenes of the event. We had close to 100 people. We made a free event, deliberately a free event, just so that we get as many people from different backgrounds as possible. And it was a really nice event with different voices and different views, and some motley characters that don't have anyway. So yeah, and some people from the history of space in Australia as well. This is Tim McCracken, and the other people from the early days. I gave a bit of a spiel about the association. I think we got one or two memberships out of that, so it was quite good. We actually helped to sponsor the event. We used some of the association's funds to help put this together, and I'll be talking shortly about where we get these funds. So yeah, that's kind of what the event was about. You can go to our Space Association YouTube channel, and the entire presentation, minus the forum, is there for viewing. Now, those of you who may have been there like soon after the event, the audio quality was a bit substandard, so we've actually done a massive amount of work and substitute the audio with the line is taken from the internal system. We're going to be hot over with technology. Yeah, so take a look at that if you can. So just once again, for those of you who've never been here before or stumbled in here saying what are these people are about, we meet here monthly on the fourth Monday of each month, apart from December, because the fourth Monday of December is a bit special for some reason. So next meeting will be July 24th. Some important advertising material. Many of you will, members will be receiving membership renewals 12 months after you originally joined, so we urge you to consider rejoining the association. It helps us to do what we do tonight. All this tonight is free, and once again, it helps us to push these special events. We might issue red books next year, I'm not sure. So that's kind of it for me. We have a couple of things you may or may not have noticed on the way in. There's a piece of paper somewhere. Basically, what we'd like to do, if you haven't already put your contact details and email address in with us, we'll keep you informed of things that are coming up over the next months and weeks and months and years. So we will do that. All right. Any questions? Okay. Okay, well, we're on a special event tonight. I do apologise for using that image. You'll probably have a lot to say about the gravity thing, but there's Sandra Bullock saving the world. So our special guest tonight is Kajal Warman. She's a mechatronics engineer working at the European Space Agency. Kajal leads technology research and development activities at the European Space Agency's Automation and Robotics section of the ESTEC, the European Space Research and Technology Centre. It's its technical partner located in the Netherlands. He's been in charge of activities for developing space debris capturing technologies and has supported both early mission studies for space debris removal mission as well as a E.D.Orbit, the European Space Agency mission to remove space debris currently under development. Kajal also leads research and development activities in other areas of space robotics, and in particular orbital and low gravity robotics, and has recently established a new laboratory at ESTEC to specifically support R&D in low gravity robotics. Prior to working at ESA, Kajal was employed in Australia at the CSIRO, where he was working on the early designs of the Australian Square Kilometre Array Pathfinder radio telescope and supported Australia's bid for the Square Kilometre Array. Currently, Kajal is living in Melbourne while on a sabbatical from the European Space Agency. And once again, I do apologise for my shocking pronunciation of your name, and I'd like to welcome you to the stage now. Welcome.
So we'll have a quiz at the end of the night for how to pronounce my name. That's good. Hello everyone, thank you for coming tonight. Is that okay? Can you hear me? Thanks for letting me talk today about space debris. Space debris is actually becoming quite a severe problem, believe it or not. So severe that we actually have to deal with it. And I'm going to try to explain to you why we have to deal with it. But before we do that, that was me a little while ago. I studied in Sydney. I eventually got a job with CSIRO, and I went out in the desert in Western Australia and sat on a chair. Sorry? Oh, okay. Hello, Siri. I didn't just sit on a chair. I was involved in getting these things up and running, and I did a lot of sort of work on characterizing how radioactive things, the areas we've got here in South Africa. So we worked towards the big square for a half an hour. Then I wanted to do not that astronomy isn't real space science, but I wanted to get more into what we call space technology. I found out being at the European Space Agency. I applied there, so a little later I was doing this sort of things here. This is ESTEC. That is the test center. It's the largest, it's one of the largest space testing facilities in the world, and certainly in Europe. There's a space simulator in here, a massive vacuum chamber, which we can put the largest spacecraft that we launched into. It has a sun simulator. It's a very interesting thing. When there's shaker, there's a shaker that says spacecraft connected directly to the bedroom, but even so, when it's on, then you feel it everywhere. My office was in here, and we also had a star. We also have a Mars yard in there. So, I want to ask, show of hands, how many of you actually know anything about ESA? That's not so bad. How many of you feel like you know a bit about ESA? Well, I have a whirlwind tour of ESA now before I get on to space debris, so that you at least know where I'm working. But it will be quite fast. We'll be kind of sitting through this, so if you do have questions, don't hesitate to ask me afterwards. ESA is Europe's space agency. It was established expressly to support cooperation in space between European nations. ESA is not part of the European Union. In fact, if there are British people here, Britain is a huge supporter of ESA and will keep being so into the future. So we do collaborate with the European Union, though. It's a civilian, that's another thing I will point out, exclusively for peaceful purposes. Most countries separate strictly civilian and military space activities, and very good reasons for doing so. You can ask me about that if you want to hear my opinion from Canada. We have sites all over Europe. We have ground stations and offices all over the world. There is a ground station here in Australia. That's part of ESA's Deep Space Network in New Norcia. That's ESA's budget for 2017. 5.7 billion euros. Do you think that's a lot of money? Is that a lot of money? Anyone? Do you have it at home? Of course, 5.7 billion is a lot of money, but for a space agency, it's fairly modest actually. And if you compare, I could tell you that compared to NASA's military and civilian space budget, it's a drop in the ocean. But maybe once, but that wouldn't maybe be very meaningful. Maybe if I said something like, that's about the same amount that your 5-kilometer tunnel, Westgate tunnel, about the same. Okay. Another way to put it, that maybe puts it in perspective, is one cinema ticket per person in Europe a year. The largest portion here is Earth observation, launches, and navigation. Navigation being like the European GPS, if you will. Exploration is in here, together with human spaceflight. So most of this is human spaceflight actually. So exploration is a small percentage of a tenth of our cinema ticket. Space science, also roughly a tenth of the cinema ticket. Now I'll tell you about this tenth of cinema ticket, because we do amazing things with it. This is one of my favorite pictures ever. Do you know where it is? You should. Come on, here, you should.
Andrew Rennie.
This is, and if anyone can pronounce it, it takes a point. This is taken at the surface. Okay, go for it. Oh, wow. I hold 67 feet. And that's taken from the surface of a comet. Think about that. From the surface of a comet. That's incredible, right? That's a leg of Philae, the landing of the Lucifer mission. So 10 years in space, rounding this comet and landing. This is an ESA mission. That's another one of my favorite pictures of all time. You know where that one is taken? It's not the graphic is back up, this one. On the surface of Titan. Another ESA mission. They landed on Titan. Only landing in the upper solar system. The lander was called Huygens and was on board the Cassini spacecraft. Cassini, this is true, not everything about, was a joint ESA NASA mission. Here's some other things that all form part of this 1/10 of a cinema ticket. Current space missions in 1/10 of a cinema ticket. I'm not going to go through all of them, but Hubble is a joint with NASA. LISA Pathfinder, a very interesting one that launched very recently. It's a technology demonstration mission to test on the critical technologies to create a space-based gravitational wave laboratory, which is what we call LISA. And as far as I've heard, there's now the first steps to approving the LISA mission having been, because since then we found gravitational waves on Earth, so now it's a hot topic. So you can ask, why would you want a space-based gravitational wave laboratory if you can already test them on Earth? Well, for the same reason that you want to put infrared telescopes in space and radio telescopes on the ground. There's different frequencies, there's different science. So this is very exciting. LISA has, I think, has a lot of traction. LISA upcoming mission in the next few years. Bepi Colombo will go to Mercury. Cheops will be looking for extrasolar planets. Solar Orbiter, James Webb Space Telescope, again, a collaborative mission with NASA, and etc., etc. 1/10 of the cinema ticket. Another 10th of the cinema ticket, ExoMars. First one I have because of the robotics section. ExoMars, what do you know about ExoMars? Have you heard of ExoMars before? No? You have? Good. ExoMars consists of 2 missions. The first part of ExoMars launched last year, and it consisted of an orbiter to go into orbit around Mars to support the rover mission. But because we haven't successfully landed on Mars, very few people have, it's very hard, more than 50% of the spacecraft that go to Mars have crashed. Rover was 5. We wanted to also try to land, so we had a technology demonstration experimental landing system on board as well, which is called the Schiaparelli lander, which deployed, re-entered the atmosphere and crashed. Yeah. But gave us lots of data, so we will know how to land this guy. So we're very successful. ESA has an extremely long history of Earth observation. We launched the first Earth observation satellite in 1977, and I dare say that we have probably provided some of the most comprehensive Earth observation data with a series of missions to the world system. The famous one that I'll get back to later is ENVISAT, enormous satellite, keep it in mind. The next generation of satellites, Earth observation satellites, launched by ESA, will be launched. We started launching some of them. They're part of the Copernicus program, which you might have heard about, and are called the Sentinels. This is Earth observation satellites current and about to be launched. That's ENVISAT, mentioned before. This is again ENVISAT, mentioned before. In space and in the lab in ESTEC. It's about 8 meters long for this, size of a bus. Weighs about 8 tons. If you include the it's about 25 meters long. massive satellite. And in 2012, it stopped working against Destiny. We do navigation, we do human spaceflight, that's the European Columbus module. I want to mention this one briefly. So Europe has been launching, for a while now, we've been supplying the space station with our automated transfer vehicle, which is fully autonomous flagship that will fly up to the space station, fully autonomously dock with the space station, so that you can bring goods up to the space station and then take waste off again, which will burn up in the atmosphere. Technology from the APV is now being used for this. That's the transfer stage of the Orion spacecraft. So Orion is what NASA wants to use to take humans to Mars. This is a big deal, because it's the first time NASA has ever allowed anyone other than NASA to be in their technical path. We do launches. Private launches are a big thing today. Arianespace is a private company and has been dominating the satellite launch market for a period of time. Something like 60% of satellites that you launch with Ariane. And that's Ariane 5, that's Soyuz, and that's Vega. They're the three launches we launched from our main launch site in French Guiana. And the next generation of Ariane is called Ariane 6. It's a lot of work. You all know why we launched French Guiana rather than suburban Paris?
That's where you equator?
That's the equator, I think it is close to the equator. Velocity, exactly. Getting to orbit is all about kinetic energy. At the equator, you're moving faster than you are at near points. So you lose less kinetic energy at this point. We mentioned this. Our Director General, Jan Werner, brought up the concept of the Moon Village. This is the first time I've seen ESA put itself in the leadership role and like really push for something, and I think it's a wonderful thing to see. I don't think it's a good idea to go and say we should go to planet this, planet flag, and never go back. I think as a species, the only thing we know is that our time on this planet is limited, and we need to become space-faring. That's what we need to do. If you want to learn to drive a car, you're going down in your car on your parking lot, and you learn to drive your car. There, first time to turn on, how to drive back and forth. You don't start by going to Perth, okay? The moon is right next to us, it's easy to get to. It's enormously scientifically interesting. We can learn a lot about working, living, and operating in space as a species. The Moon Village is not a mission, it's the concept of making the resources available for people to go to the moon and do what they want there. Yeah? So, provide transportation, provide this, that, and the other, so that we can have a international village. So, I didn't touch on everything we do, not even close, but I tried to give you a rough, small idea anyway. That's all the chance of this, and I won't be spending on space library, so forgive me for being quick, but don't forget to don't hesitate to ask me afterwards. Okay? Now, to what we're actually here for. Space library. I'll start with a little video to set the scene, and then it's only a couple of minutes long, so it should be. Something happened.
After 60 years of space activities, there are around 29,000 human-made objects larger than 10 centimeters orbiting around Earth. some operational, most dead. The vast majority of these objects drift freely in orbit, at risk of collision. A 1 centimeter object could strike a working satellite with the force of an exploding hand grenade. Any collision would create more debris, which can lead in turn to a cascade of further collisions. As the total space launches per year go on increasing, the situation will only grow worse. ESA is leading efforts to tackle the problem of space debris. This includes developing technologies to actively remove debris, focused on a demonstrator mission called ED-Orbit. ED-Orbit will target a derelict ESA-owned satellite in a heavily trafficked low orbit, to capture it, then bring it down to burn up in the atmosphere. Such a mission will mark a world first. There are 3 kinds of challenges to overcome. The first is to identify the target as it tumbles out of control, then find a safe way to close in, then synchronize orbital paths. The second challenge is to actually capture it in a secure way. 2 alternative mechanisms are currently under study. One would use a robotic arm, the other would employ a net. The final challenge will be to convey this massive item of debris down in a safe and controlled manner. ED-Orbit will be the world's first act of active debris removal. The mission will position European industry in the global lead of this emerging space market. Success will pave the way in turn for the creation of whole new market sectors and follow-on services.
Okay. Am I causing you trouble while being over there, by the way? You have like 8 cameras here pointing in different directions. You tell me, I should like moving around, but I can try to chain myself to the desk. Yeah. So I will tell you about space debris. I will tell you pretty much what's in this video, really. So if you like, this was not on the video. But I will try to go into more detail on the different topics, of course. So to begin with, I want to show you this picture. You've probably seen various versions of this one before. This is actually how it looks. There's a bunch of orange ball-shaped spacecraft orbiting. every one of these represents a real satellite. Yeah. Every real piece of trapped object in space. So you see here, low Earth orbit, the geostationary ring, and you can probably even see some of the gray orbits. So, quiz question. How many of these orange balls are actual live satellites?
5%.
5 or 5%? 5%, yes, very good. Less than 5%. Yeah. The rest, space debris. And these are tracked objects. You can't track everything. You can track things that are bigger than about this. But something about that size is still dangerous. You already saw a picture about it for this. I'm going to ask you if you know which movie it is. Did you like it?
Yeah, visually.
Yeah, visually. Only visually. I thought it was great. I know astronauts who said, really in a way captured the feeling of being in space. At least before everything blew up. This movie is, the core concept here is something called the Kessler syndrome. Kessler syndrome, it was dramatized in this movie, of course, but it's a real thing. It's chain reaction. So one piece of space debris hits another piece, breaks more pieces, which hits more pieces, and so forth, and you get a runaway cascading effect. So, the Kessler syndrome was discovered by Donald Kessler, who was working at NASA in the 80s, and published this paper in which he did some modeling of the environment. Now, you probably can't see the axis, so that there's mass here and flux here, so amount of stuff and mass. Yeah? And what is at each line is a different year, so what I'm saying is every, as time progresses that way, there's more stuff. Yeah. Which is fine, you know, it's assuming that you're launching 500 satellites a year, it goes up. The thing though is this is a logarithmic curve, so things are going up exponentially. We're not going up linear. The interesting thing he then did was he said, well, I'll pretend we stop launching altogether in 2020. The top line here is 2100. We'll say we stop launching altogether in 2020, no more satellites being launched. That's still 2100, it's still going up. We stop launching, it's still going up. And that's because of this calculations keep feeding Kessler. So what Kessler said is, new debris are created mainly through breakups and collisions. And there's only two ways, think about it, there's only two ways that the population will ever decrease again. And one of them is air drag. There's still air in an orbit on Earth. Less and less the higher you go, there's still air drag, which will eventually bring things down. And the other one is actually only two ways of reducing the amount of stuff. So, we started launching in the 60s. Ever since we started launching, all the stuff there has been increasing fairly regularly, with a couple of exceptions and a couple of step functions here. That was our Chinese friends shut down one of their satellites, and that was a collision between Iridium and Cosmos. Projecting that into the future, we have an exponential increase. I told you already. The Kessler threshold. If the amount of reduction in debris due to air drag is lower than the amount of increase due to breakup and collision, you have a runaway effect, and the only thing that can ever fix it is actually the runaway. Where is that threshold? The modeling varies a little bit, but most people agree that it's around about there, 1990.
To collisions in low Earth orbits. The most serious of these collisions was the one between an Iridium satellite and a defunct Cosmos satellite on the 10th of February 2009. The satellites collided at a relative speed of approximately 32,000 kilometers per hour. This resulted in the creation of an additional 2,000 items of debris that can now be tracked from the ground using radar. These debris will disperse at different speeds over the course of time due to the effect of Earth's gravitational field. The Iridium fragments are less affected, meaning that they disperse somewhat more slowly.
All I want to say here is, they don't stay in the orbit, because
This contact cloud of debris regularly.
The energy is in different directions. They pilot it in different directions. It spreads out. It disperses, so it becomes a debris cloud. Yeah? It's not easy to predict.
Does it continue to spread over time as time progresses? Like the orbits continue to change?
Well, they're not changing, but each particle is in its own orbit, right? And then they start having collisions between themselves, and you have a very much a chaotic where is the debris? Well, this is altitude, spatial density. There's a strong peak here at around 800 kilometers. Does any of you know what orbit that corresponds to?
Sun-synchronous.
Sun-synchronous orbit. Does any of you know, probably you know what sun-synchronous orbit is? Sun-synchronous orbit is characterized by a very specific thing, which says that a satellite in sun-synchronous orbit will pass over a spot on Earth at the same time of day every time it passes. It means things like shadows will always be the same. It's very important if you're taking pictures or the other, for example. So pretty much all our Earth observations have last time, so why it's very crowded. Yeah. So, it's getting expensive to operate in sun-synchronous orbit. These days we're doing, on many of our spacecraft, 8 collision avoidance maneuvers a year. every collision avoidance maneuver we do uses fuel and shortens the lifespan of the satellite. A few years ago it was 2, not many years ago. So, is there anything we can do to stabilize this? The answer is yes. But it's not easy. So, I just realized it's been cut off. A number of things we need to do. Firstly, we need to make sure we don't, new things we launch don't turn into space debris. So there's 2 things we need to do. A, passivate. That means disconnect the batteries, empty the fuel tanks, make sure they don't explode. Yeah? And B, make sure they come down within a reasonable amount of time. Because if you just leave it up there, you can easily stay up for hundreds of years. And every year is another risk of collision. So, if you implement those 2 things, you go from the red curve to the blue curve. Blue curve is still increasing exponentially though. Yeah? Just a lot. So, the only thing left, remember Kepler? Tesla, yeah, there you go. Remember Tesla? The only thing left, the only thing is active debris removal. So people do modeling for how much active debris removal you have to do in order to bring that curve down further. And they said around 5 to 10 points a year. 5 to 10 points a year. Yeah? Okay. That curve has a different axis. It's collisions. The last one was number of objects. So that's why it looks. So, same here as collisions. So, passivation, post-mission disposal, and active removal. Important take-home message. Active debris removal is the only thing that can stay alive. In addition to these other things, not alone. Yeah. But you can't just remove any object. You have to remove the biggest and most risky ones. Biggest collision risk, highest mass, and things that stay up the longest. So people have gone through and made a list. This is a list. Most of them are, most of the high-risk objects are sent at upper stages. But the only ESA object on this list is that one. So what are we doing with an ESA to address this? Now, in ESA, we have an initiative we call Clean Space. Clean Space is not a program, it's an initiative that goes across a certain number of disciplines. And it is split into sort of 3 main sectors. There's a sector which looks at dealing with just the normal green technologies applied. So looking at the environmental impact of technologies, things like green fuels, sustainable manufacturing processes. The other 2 sectors are about space debris. This one is to make sure we build things that won't become debris. So make sure it burns up in the atmosphere, make sure it comes down, make sure it can deal with itself, make sure it doesn't blow up your battery. And this part is active debris. So I will talk now about how to capture debris. I won't talk about everything else in this response because this is what I was doing, and I think it's better to get the personal perspective. And in particular, I will. We talked about the different challenges around capturing space debris before, and I won't go into all of those either. I will focus on capturing part of it, which again is what I was doing. Rendezvous is very hard. Re-entry is very hard. Capture it very hard. But let's just talk about that. The technologies we've been looking at, we classify it sort of 2 main categories, what we call pulling and pushing technologies. The difference, pulling technology being tethered and tapping, pushing being robotic arm tapping mechanism. I'll have a mission profile here for both of them. This is a pushing technology, so at the beginning you launch, you rendezvous, you get really close, you grab this thing. Keep in mind though that this is the size of a bus. it's tumbling uncontrollably, yeah, on all axes. Yeah? You have to go right in, you have to grab it. Once you grab it, you stabilize it, you make it stop rotate, you break it, you slow it down enough to make it land precisely where you want it. Why do you want to make sure it lands precisely where you want it? Sorry?
Because that's a lot of energy. You want to control exactly where it lands. If it does make it all the way to the ground, if it makes it all the way to the ground.
Well, if it wouldn't make it all the way to the ground, we wouldn't care. Okay? We could re-enter anywhere, and there would be a bunch of technological solutions open for us that are much easier. The thing though is, these things are not designed to they were built before those people thinking about that. And a lot of its pieces would survive re-entry. So if we do a calculation of the risk of on-ground casualty, it's too high. So big pieces of space debris, you have to do a controlled re-entry. You land it somewhere where there's no people. You crash land it somewhere where there's no people. Probably this our position. The other mission profile, same from the beginning, but instead of getting right up close, we stopped at the distance, we launched an net or a harpoon, and again it slowed down and we crashed the ocean. Those two technology groups have their own advantages and their own disadvantages. If you want to grab it with a robotic arm, you have a very complex technology, very complex mechanism, and you need to get in right close. Remember, again, tumbling fast, right? Always, it's not easy. But once you do get in close, if you manage to do so without crashing, you rigidize. It's a fairly well-known control problem to control this back and deal with it. On the other hand, with the flexible systems, you don't need to get in that close. The technology mechanically is simpler, but once you attach the spacecraft, then you have two bodies effectively connected with an elastic, and that is something we don't have much experience with, and it makes the control people very scary. So yeah, anyway. What our job is to make sure the technology is built, because ED orbit is not going to solve the problem. One of the technologies will be used for our mission that we might do through this space debris. But it has to be done with a rate of 5%. It has to be done commercially. And if we bring up a number of different technological options to the right level, then these companies will have something to choose from, or we will have something to choose from. So we bring the technology, several technologies, and make sure so. I want to show you another problem with capturing things in space. It's called Newton's second law. Not intuitive at all. If I stand here and push on the wall doesn't go anywhere, I don't go anywhere, it's fine. Unless I push really hard. Okay? That's because I have weight that creates force on the ground, there's friction. In space, there's no friction. If I push even lightly on the wall, I will drift away from the wall. Doesn't matter how light I push, I will drift away from the wall. As long as I'm in contact with the wall at all, I will drift away from the wall. Yeah? This is something that is not intuitive, because we don't experience that situation. This satellite, you know what satellite this is? Intelsat 6, it was meant to go into geostationary orbit. It didn't, because its transfer failed, so they contracted NASA to try and attach a new booster to get them up to geostationary orbit. So NASA said, sure, no worries, we have a new space shuttle, Abdilla. We'll try it out on our main mission. We have a specially designed tool, designed to fit perfectly with Intelsat. No worries. So they launched, they did their spacewalk, tried to attach their tool, didn't work. Didn't work at all. Every time they tried, the satellite moved away. After every time it would move away. They completely underestimated Newton. All the brains on NASA could not figure out how to do this in the end. They went with, they tried several times. Huh? They had, I think, 3 spacewalks and tried, and they failed. They were about to give up. And the team had an idea on board the space shuttle, and they managed to convince NASA to do it. I think they locked up the health and safety people in order to get through. The plan was this: 3 astronauts simultaneously doing a spacewalk. Nobody had ever done a 3 astronaut spacewalk before. It was not planned, it's not rehearsed. And these 3 astronauts manually grabbed the satellite with their hands. Like that. And then managed to get hold of it. Capturing things in space is hard. So, when I say mature technology, what do I actually mean? Do you know what technology readiness level is? Technology readiness level is what we use, it's a terminology we use a lot in the space industry. The scales used by NASA and ESA are slightly different, very similar. So it goes from 1 to 9. 9 means we have something that's flown in space before. 1 is I have a thought, and then everything in between. We have in ESA a single scale. We don't have different scales for systems and components, etc., etc. So pretty much everything up to 6, we talk about components, and everything above that is a system. So when we talk about a technology, maturing technology that can be adopted by space missions, we usually mean 6 or 7, which means that we built it, we tested it in its critical functions in relevant environment, whatever that is. So, what have we done for space debris removal? Well, we had some ideas. We did some paper studies. This is tensor dynamics, how to work out how tensor dynamics work. We did some lab tests. Well, we, I mean, a Polish company and a Spanish company for us. And we did some lab simulations and then we built prototypes. We tested them in laboratories. That's a harpoon. Launching vertically underneath a flight path in a bunker. And this is the method also being tested. And then on the plane. What is this plane doing? What's the relevant environment that I'm testing in? Microgravity. Yeah. So 0G flight level. 0G. So microgravity, low gravity. Do I remove gravity in a plane like this? In fact, I remove everything else but gravity. You think if there was no gravity on the space station, it would fly off into space. Gravity is what keeps the space station in orbit. Yeah? Gravity on the space station is just a bit less than helium. What makes people float around is the fact that there's no other forces. Yeah? So what we do on a parabolic flight is they fly a maneuver where they cancel out all the aerodynamic forces. So they fly at an angle of attack where they have no lift, and they cancel out drag with thrust. And the only thing left is gravity, and it acts the same way on the plane as it does on everybody on board it. So there's no reaction forces any further. Yeah? That's how we do zero gravity on the plane. Inside this plane, we were doing things like this. That's actually a different plane, but anyway. So you see, we shot the net, things are floating around. We recorded it all with the cameras, which allowed us to do full 3D reconstruction of the net. We also modeled it very carefully. We compared things. The idea being to create a reliable simulator that we can do to build a full scale. I want to just do a digression to my lab because I like it and I want to show it to you. And I want to show that we can do all the things that are plane to simulate 3D. If you don't need 3 dimensions, you can use one of these. That's a flat floor, a really, really flat floor. And this thing here has air cushions underneath it. Yeah? So it effectively moves frictionless in 2 dimensions. If you don't need 3 dimensions to test your relevant critical function, this is much easier. So we did, for example, we did things like this. This is a gripper, and this is a mock-up of a launch adapter ring. And yeah, so these things are being tested there. So we've been maturing all these technologies. We've been maturing tethers, we've built tethers. We've been dealing with all the issues with the tether, the fact that we will actually go through the truss of fluid of the spacecraft. So we have to build one that can handle that, as well as one that's fairly elastic. We built net ejectors, nets, we looked at closing mechanisms, harpoons, spools. And then once you build all these things, they then become systems, and we want to take these systems on an end-to-end test, which we haven't done yet, but hopefully we'll do this year or next. Putting on the sounding rocket, we'll test it and then bring stuff to GL7, and we're happy with these technologies now. Yeah? If the mission adopts it, it will take it on to qualify it. I talked only about the pulling technologies. The pushing technologies, we're going to do the same sort of process. ED-orbit. I'll talk briefly about ED-orbit. So, I've said this before. This is what we, humanity, needs to do. Remove large debris, perform a controlled re-entry because the type will be tumbling and move 5 to 10 objects a year in a low-cost way. Yeah? We had problems because these things are launched on by different states, etc. So ESA can't tackle this. What ESA can do is tackle one piece of space debris, perform a control reactor still, deal with the issues that come with things, come up with some versatile technologies, and pave the way for the future. Show that we can do it at this technically. And I'm really proud of ESA for taking this approach, because a lot of the space agencies and others are not. They say, look, it's all too hard, the legal frameworks are not there, the business case is not there. We need to get all this in place before we start spending more on technologies. Well, guess what? ESA went the other way. They said, let's start developing technologies, let's focus on that issue. And now you have whole streams of space debris at the IAC and all big conferences. I think ESA is very much the EU. So it's a very good approach. We can show that we do it. All the lawyers and business people start going through what they're good at at the same time, which is happening. The mission goal of ED-orbit is to remove an ESA-owned debris from SSO. Look, MSI is a good target. It's not the only possible target. Not by a long shot, and it hasn't been decided that we will definitely do MSAT, but it is a good option. And if we could do it with MSAT, we would really show that we could do it pretty much with anything. So this is a challenging one. MSAT died in 2012, and we've done a number of studies, both internally and in the industry since then. just show you this. The chance of MSF breaking up into other pieces by 2020 is 1 in 100. That's not negligible. But if you look at this number, the chance of MSF colliding under natural decay, about 1 in 5, 1 in 6. That's high. The other thing with MSF, a lot of things would survive re-entry. So again, it's too high risk to come down naturally. This is a control re-entry. It's the only option. I said we've done lots of studies with chemistry and we've done lots of technology development. Today, this is roughly what we have done. So we've spent about 12 million euros on technology development so far for capturing technologies for GNC. And then in the next 3 years, plan is to spend over 20 million or so. The mission itself has not taken the go-ahead path where it is at the moment. I hope that, so we're trying to enter, we're in this maturation phase now where we're kind of in between the so-called B1 and the next phases where we try to bring these technologies up and then hopefully get approval for the mission. What I didn't say when I talked about ESA, which is probably important to mention at this stage, is ESA's budget is only a very small part dependent on GDP. So when you become an ESA member, you pay a contribution based on your GDP. That contribution goes towards the science program, that 1/10 of the cinema ticket or something. And it's a little bit towards the goal. Everything else are sort of offshore programs. That means every 4 years, 3 to 4 years, everybody gets together and the missions, upcoming missions are presented and the delegates from each of the member countries get to choose where they want to spend their money. How little or much they want. Yeah? Whenever they spend money on the ESA program, they expect to get at least as much back in industrial contracts. So, to get, when I say get approval for the next mission, it means to convince the delegates to spend money. At the moment, this has really been a European effort. There's all companies all around Europe that have been working on EDM so far. And as I said, what ESA is doing is really good. We really highlight the issue of space debris, and we generate a real buzz around it. There's a lot of stuff going on. I think, in large part because of ESA. I want to leave you with a couple of questions before I start accepting questions. A, how to create a global market for space debris removal? Because it has to be done as a global market. And can you see any potential problems with the transport through the spacecraft? A lot of the videos I have in this presentation you can check out on YouTube. And have a look at the Clean Space blog if you want more details about that. And that's it. This, by the way, I put on the last slide because it's a very nice concept that unfortunately it's not possible to be used. It's called the Iron Beam Shepherd. Effectively, it's a spacecraft with 2 electric propulsion rockets on it. So 2 because you don't want to do it. You want it to send output, but you blast the thing and you slow it down that way. Unfortunately, you can't do a control reentry this way. You slow it down, move it to another orbit. You can't do a control reentry. So it's not available. Okay,
thank you. Okay, thank you very much. That was wonderful. I don't think it's working. Anyway, when we get the microphone working, this is actually being streamed and it's also being recorded and you're not working either. We'd ask you wait for the microphone to come to you so it can be streamed and recorded. We've got several people listening, watching online, so all I hear is the speaker, that's it. Hello, testing.
Hello, is that working? Yeah, not very okay. Very good. Okay, so first of all, let's thank our speaker. And we have a microphone over there. Take it back if you want. Just identify yourself.
My name is Tom Swedish. Working in landscape architecture. Is that working?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, right. My question is, what about capturing satellites and then taking them to the moon and then using them in the moon base? Is that an option as well?
So we didn't look at taking them to the moon, but what we did look at was moving things into another orbit. Now, other than being the equivalent of sweeping a problem under the carpet, it wasn't actually cheaper. So, from that point of view, it made more sense to stick with actually removing the spacecraft rather than pushing it down the road. As for taking it to the moon and using it, I think it would cost a lot.
Okay, so next question we've got Len here.
Yeah, hi, I'm Len. Is that working?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Excellent presentation, by the way. This is a problem I've been thinking about for quite a while. Do you know what, if anything, any of the other agencies are doing? Americans, Russians, Japanese, Indians, Chinese, New Zealand?
Nobody's putting as much real money on the table as we are doing as much at the moment. But they're all talking about it, they're all studying it, especially I think a really interesting take coming out of China. What they're actually doing in the Chinese Space Agency is not always easy to know, but so maybe they are actually doing something, some missions as well, I don't know. But there have been some interesting papers coming out from China on several of these topics. Americans, French, they all publish on this, participate heavily in discussions, but haven't been really putting a lot of real money on the table.
Is it true that the Chinese incident in 2007 and the Iridium added over 20% to the amount of tracked objects up there? And do you think a lot of the Chinese papers coming in now might be tinged with development of remorse? I think they have succeeded.
They added a lot of pieces. The exact percentage, I can't remember. I had a graph that was to scale before. There's several factors that contribute to when it to be trackable. A, the number of pieces up there, and B, our ability to track them. Yeah? So when we talk about tracked objects in space, it's not always that easy to say. So sometimes you will hear numbers like there's 20,000 objects up there. Sometimes you will hear other numbers like there's 100,000 objects up there. At the moment, we can track about 20,000 objects, but there's a lot more. How many? Whether the Chinese are feeling certain level of remorse. Look, I think if it had been the Chinese, it would have been someone else.
Okay, Angelo.
Hi, it's Angelo here. Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Testing. Can you hear it? No.
Can you hear me?
I guess.
Excellent.
Angelo here. Very noble endeavour and almost essential. However, there's two things that are on the horizon. The move currently to nanosats. That seems to be rising worse than exponentially in my mind. But the more sinister one is the imminent move to militarisation of space. The Americans are talking about putting a space group together under the Air Force, etc., etc. Has anyone thought about, and there's been talk lately on the space treaty, of adding amendments to the space treaty to require countries to seriously deal with their crew?
Okay, I removed a slide from this presentation on the legal aspect. At the moment, there is a United Nations framework guidelines that say you cannot leave debris up there for more than 25 years. It's a guideline, it's non-binding, it's not enforceable, it's a guideline. This needs to be translated into national law. So far, that has happened in France. So if you launch from France, you are bound by law for your spacecraft to come down within 25 years. It's not true anywhere else at the moment. It is very important that this gets translated into national law in the closest as possible. As for adding something to the space treaty, the space treaty was set up at a time when nobody had managed to get anything into space, and everybody was afraid that everybody else would be first before. So it was a time in which it was possible to get a very strong treaty together that was subscribed by a lot of countries. The space treaty, as you know, sure, explicitly sets out, for example, that you cannot penetrate space. Do you think something like that could ever be signed under today? So we all agree. So it's wonderful that we have that treaty. I don't think, my personal opinion, that we will see any amendments to the space treaty anytime soon. But I think there's a good chance that we will start seeing these things translated into international law, and I hope certainly that will happen around the world.
And to the nanoset question?
The nanoset question, so nanosets, there's two different things there. There is a huge increase in the number of nanosets launched. That does not mean that there's a shift towards nanoset. Nanoset cannot do the same as what NSet can do. Yeah? So those are two different things. But you're right, there's a huge increase in satellites. So one of them is the nanosats. They're not such a big problem usually, because they usually launch in very low orbits and they fall down very quickly. Bigger problems are things like OneWeb or SpaceX was talking about 4,000 satellites. I mean, to date, we've only launched 5,000 satellites worldwide. There's 1,000 satellites up there today. And SpaceX wants to add another 4,000. OneWeb wants to add 800. Yeah? Just to put it in perspective. Space debris mitigation is probably the most important issue that we're facing when we're talking about this. OneWeb at least is very open that they are thinking about it, and we're talking about it in their presentation. I don't know much about what SpaceX are saying, but I'm sure they know about it as well. So it's good that the problem has been identified now, and we're dealing with the discussion that is going on.
Thank you. So, David?
I had two quick questions. The net, do you know what you're going to make that out of in the end?
There's a couple of materials that we have tested and made as well. One of them is actually Dyneema, which is used by fishing trawlers. So we actually buy fishing net. And it has been used in space before to build space telescope. There's other things as well, Technora, Cylon, these are more toward the space materials, but in the end, these are very simple technologies. And it's not, whether it's Dyneema or Technora or Cylon, they're all very low density, very, very high strength materials.
And the second part was, you've sort of got a limited window for something like this, don't you? If the Kessler syndrome were to run away, you have no way of, actually intercepting a satellite without potentially yours being destroyed by debris along the way, right?
Well, yeah, okay, that's one. Yeah, okay. So if we don't deal with the space debris problem, we are effectively shutting ourselves out of the space business. So we need to deal with it, yeah? Because we don't want to do that. So that's the first part of the question. The second part is, if I remember now, what you said?
You basically be launching into a debris field.
Yes, that's what it was. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
David?
An interesting problem that you have is there actually hasn't been enough collisions in space to really make people worry enough about it. Is that part of the reality of the problem? It's a bit like global warming. you know, the birds aren't falling out of the skies, and there's a lot of anecdotal evidence around, and not enough evidence that people can really grasp that will make an act, particularly politicians.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say, give you any details, but we launched a satellite fairly recently. Big satellite, expensive satellite, big profile satellite. We had to do a collision of work to do before it left safe mode, before we tested the systems. Now, of course, I'm really happy that they didn't get hit by this space movements and the cloud space itself. But if it had, maybe some of the companies would have pretty well. You're right. It is a problem that for awareness that there have been more problems, which is the same always. I mean, people don't want to deal with problems until it comes to fight them. That's just a general comment about human nature.
I just wanted a second question. There's a Swiss company that's been formed to commercialise deorbiting. Debris collection as a commercial venture. There's also other technologies you haven't mentioned, like I think electrostatically charged tethers and things like that.
These technologies cannot do control of energy. Electrostatically charged tethers cannot do control of energy. Lasers from the ground cannot do control of energy. There's lots of technologies out there that won't really solve the problem, unfortunately.
Andrew.
You've just answered one of the 4 points, so there's 3. Is it possible to launch a catcher and catch multiple satellites on the same vehicle? Secondly, could you launch the chaser as a secondary payload on another satellite that's going into some synchronous orbit? And thirdly, a few days ago, the European Space Agency published an idea on their website of a magnetic chaser satellite. Comment on that, please.
3. First one, multiple satellites. Yes, and I think commercially we would have to do that. How you do it is, we've studied several ways of approaching that. Probably the most logical way to do so would be to have a spacecraft that would move between targets and attach deorbiting kits to them, which would then be used to deorbit it in a controlled way. So effectively it has to do so, it's going in the right direction to fire it. Second topic was
Secondary
payload. I mean, yes. I mean, you can always launch things as a separate secondary payload if you're going into compatible orbit and have enough mass. However, we did also consider using the actual upper stage of Vega itself as the chaser, because it has a lot of the systems that we need on it. So we looked at converting it into a chaser. It turned out to be a little bit more control than probably we would have liked, so we didn't really say that would be a good thing for this. Thirdly, I think what you're talking about is a so-called network partnership initiative thesis. So we have students coming in all the time to ESA, working on all sorts of topics, from very hands-on practical things to far-out research of all kinds. And I think what you're talking about was probably sort of NPI studies. It's worked on a lot, often very interesting ideas come out of this type of student work, and we then pick them up and delve further into them. From the work we've done so far, I can't really see how an magnetic chaser will be very helpful, again, because we want to do a follow entry. And yeah, I don't want to comment too much on it because I haven't read all of it exactly what it is.
Thank you. Okay, we've got time for two more questions.
I have a couple more things.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thanks, Charlie. Is this working? No, yeah. Okay.
Want to write your name?
You also answered some of my questions I was going to ask about ground-based technologies, but with capture technologies like nets, what's sort of like the limit on the crossing velocities? Is there a limit to what you could do with nets?
With all these technologies that I've been talking about, we run them first, so we map orbits. Yeah? So effectively, the relative velocity is very small. Okay. Yeah.
And the next thing is just to go on to what David was saying before. Yeah, there are two things about humans. One is the problem has to be bad enough that we think it affects us. But I always had another theory in addition to that, that if somebody could find a way to make money out of it, the problem would also disappear very quickly.
Yeah, I put that question in my presentation. A lot of people are working on that. You know? And there are, as you said, there are some companies that are already.
So it's either fear or commercial forces.
Preferably.
Okay, last question. Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you very much for your talk. That was great. It seems, in regard to the Kessler syndrome, ESA has prioritized a certain category of bulk up there. Okay? What's the lower threshold that they're looking at?
Lowest threshold of
not just the bus, but how much smaller and smaller can you go?
The modeling that says 5 to 10 objects a year assumes that you're working your way from the top of the list and down. And doing so for about 30 years.
Okay, now if ESA also considered having a tandem process of collecting the smaller numbers, would that offset some of the spiraling Kessler syndrome effect?
Look, in principle, yes, but one large piece is the same as thousands of small pieces. So maybe you could find, I'll just give you my personal opinion, probably you could, if you had a massive program of getting rid of small things, then maybe you could make a difference. In reality, though, I don't know how practical that is.
Fantastic. That was an absolutely great presentation. Thank you so much for taking time, and we probably have questions for the rest of the night. We're going to take a break now, and we'll take a break for about 12 minutes, if that's okay. You can run the pounds on I think I'm leaving with our team from the association. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
10 minutes, everyone. 8:50, we'll come back and get the next session going. Thank you. I'd take a seat now, ladies and gentlemen. We've got another presentation and we're going to keep moving. We'll run out of time as we always do. Thanks everyone. See you next time. Hopefully come back again. So today we've got long-time Space Association member Stuart Gang, who has been flying about as our roving reporter, and he's just come back to the States, so he's just seen a launch. Take it away. No, okay. Well, I've shot my okay, let's be good. I'll put the thanks, Peter. Step 2 now. Up a bit. Okay. Welcome everyone. Current members and new members, respectively. The slide tonight, so I'm just talking about putting up some happy stats of my last 2 trips to the States. Both sort of ad hoc trips. First one back as I'm advertising in 2016. Wasn't supposed to see a launch or anything like that, so it was just a bit of a whirlwind trip. My last trip that I've just come back from a couple of weeks ago was to see COS-11 take off. I saw it on the launch pad, drove past it, that sort of thing when you do the tours at KSC. Yeah, life insurance happened too close to them in the side of the launch pad, so they had to defer it to Saturday. I didn't hear about or see the launch until I was at Orlando Airport on Saturday. So that's my last 3 visits and still no launches. Anyway, welcome all again, and I'll just go through a few slides. I'm just putting on here. I spent a couple of days at Houston, Huntsville, where Space Camp is, Orlando, Kennedy Space Center, and also Los Angeles, where I went to the California Science Museum as well. So I was meeting some people in some of these places, and while I was there, just trying to get a behind the scenes look at some of these places and how they operate and things like that. As well, whatever free time I had for myself to take some snaps. So, the purpose of the presentation tonight is to show some of the things I've tried to pick out to make them a little bit interesting to everyone, and we'll see how we go. Okay, we're in Houston Space Center. It's just the entrance, and a lot of the space centers over in the States, they're set up for enthusiasts. And anyone that may or may not be interested in space for that matter. Obviously, you've got to shop your exhibitions, live displays, simulations, and all those sorts of things, especially Western. And also working with schooling and all those sorts of things, where they have special programs focusing on STEM for those who know what STEM is about. So, that's for you and interest as you go through. There's a couple of tours that they operate at Houston. They call it a Trams tour. Each of the tours goes off in 2 different directions. One also takes you into the where this mock-up of the International Space Station is, where the actual astronauts go through their rehearsing of their upcoming missions. So the photos are actually taken from a walkthrough or a raised walkway, where you can actually go down into the building and see what's going on. Depending on the day that you go there, obviously if it's a work day, you'll see a lot of the people and astronauts working in their environments. Just as you walk through, obviously you see a few things. So as I said, I'll just try to take a few things to put up for tonight. At one end where we started coming through on the tour, you saw the International Space Station mock-up as such, and now we're coming to the robotic side of things. It's all in the same building. When you finish your tour, they take you up to what they call a rocket park. It's not, for those who might know what a rocket park or a rocket garden maybe, like the Kennedy Space Center. There's only 3 rockets here. It's a Redstone, Little Joe, and Saturn 5.
there's any questions, please feel free to ask. I'll try and answer them. The second tour that you go on, opposite to the space station, is through to the mission control. This is the building where the actual mission control was for the Gemini, or as the placard on the wall says, from Gemini 4. And I think there was 22 shuttle missions. It doesn't say anything in relation to the, goes through all the, larger, goes through all the Apollo missions here, but there's nothing on the Soyuz mission. So I'm just thinking maybe in collaboration, because of the two countries as such, they couldn't put it in there for whatever reason, might have been another mission set up. I didn't pick that up until I've got finished anyway. New exhibition you got out there is the Jumbo. I think it says designated 905 for the configuration of for all the orbiters, as they call them, or space shuttles for their test flights and everything before launch, etc. And also as a taxi to get them back from the west coast back to the east coast in preparation for the next flight. You can actually go right through the plane, and as for the shuttle itself, it's the same shuttle that was back at Kennedy Space Center back in 2007, 2008. It's just been renamed.
It's a mock-up. It's a mock-up, isn't it?
Just a mock-up, yeah. Still got what's it looks like full-on hardware in the cockpit and all the rest of it. You can go into the space shuttle on the side. The way, as you can see from the sun.
Is that the one that was at? Is that the one that was at Kennedy?
Yes.
Was it the
So they moved that.
Yes. Yes.
Hall of Fame or whatever?
Yeah, the Hall of Fame, and then they moved across.
And on top of this observation here, you can actually walk into the space shuttle there. You can actually see the payload and all that sort of thing that's been set up. But in the Jumbo, there's a lot of exhibits and displays and everything. You go into the science behind how they put the Jumbo on there and everything. Obviously, as you can probably imagine, where it sits on the Jumbo, they have re-strengthened the walls within the Jumbo itself. And then getting back into the science center itself with all the displays, you've got movies and things like that. Good games, but they've actually got some decent sized moon rocks here, which are better than some of the other pieces you might see on some shows, where they're only just better size of a 20-cent piece or 50-cent piece. So these are really nice. We're talking about debris. There's a slide on the right, you can read that down back, okay? Okay, so the 4-inch block, but about aluminium block is about 1 inch half ounce plastic cylinder with 10,000 mile an hour. That almost went through. There's a couple other pieces of it, you can see the smaller ones here. And there was when you see the International Space Station or the Space Shuttle previously on mission, where it's covered in its white decorative aprons, if you want to call or whatever. We've got one of those on display at Houston, and they've actually shown the holes where some space debris has already gone through them. And they showed some of the effects of what actually happened to it. So, and one of the critical ones that they tell you about on the space station is the fact that they have a lot of wiring travelling along through the extent of the space station, and that's always subject to a lot of debris as well. So they're obviously heavily protected against debris, but obviously not, when you can see something like that, it's not going to be able to do much anyway, or protect it all that much better. When you get to Houston, coming into Huntsville, viewers might know a little bit about Huntsville and where American Hockey League started place. They've actually started remodeling the airport, talking back in the days of the 50s and 60s and such, and 70s. It was a very busy airport, might tell us, and now it's rather cold, quietly cold, like a country airport as such. However, given the way things are turning in the space industry in America now, they've ramped it up because tourism's going to pick up really big over there in the coming years. So, I took that photo, I thought it was pretty good. The photo on the other side is the Space Camp itself. And actually, Space Camp is on the same side as the US Space Center. And Space Camp, for those of us who might know the movie, where kids go to camp and all that, it's only just this building here. And at any one time, there'll be up to 500 kids in that building from all over the world, where they'll spend the next 5.5, 6 days learning all about rocketry, space, and all the rest of it, in a space environment.
And that's a one-to-one Sat 5 mock-up, isn't it?
I don't think the Saturn 5 is. Not quite.
It is.
It is. Didn't look like it when I was standing up, right?
They may be some advanced there. It's one-to-one.
Okay. Okay, so I was meeting a couple of people here at the particular time, and they took me for a tour, so I didn't want to go and pry too much on the dorm, but they allowed me to take that photo of the dormitory here, so you can get an idea what it goes through. You can actually do some YouTube on Space Camp, and I'll show you a little bit more about it, of what some people are allowed to go on here. But just talking about the airport, when you come in here and see how they're providing Huntsville and space and everything, you can see just on the signage up here, all the supporters of space, rocketry and everything there, they all contribute to Space Camp, and obviously a lot of their future employees and all that sorts of things will be coming or have at least done Space Camp to keep their interests alive as such. Just a couple of, we went through a tour and guided to on some of the modules that they had mock-ups set up inside for the students when they're doing their classes. So you can see some of the extent that they actually made up some of these modules, or their classrooms. They actually will go in here, they'll actually do some of the experiments and similar things like that. But all the curriculum that they have is fully structured. You can see some of the modules on the outside, and all stars in the background, all that to obviously help give that impression if they were, or dream, keep the dream alive and such. The tank on the right-hand side here is a buoyancy tank, but it is actually do scuba diving as well. And I think it's a 11-metre tank or something, 12 metres. So where I am now taking that further, they've actually got a mock-up of PVC tubing and all that, but they can do satellite configurations and all that sort of stuff. But they actually have to do it while they're in there too. There's a couple in there doing it. And, obviously, they learn the basics of scuba diving, all that sort of thing first, get their neutral buoyancy, and the instructors will lay down with it, and then they'll get the mission, and then they'll actually go down and assemble things, and they'll work in partnership and do it together. So, class, I think, teammates will be up top, or the other ones will be down on the side, looking in through the window, seeing how they're going, and things like that. It was very interesting. A little bit more interesting, some of the history and artifacts that would have come out while I was going through Space Camp. One of my Brian's buoyancy suit. I didn't actually say whether they actually use it in their tank as such, because I don't think it probably would be the case, because Space Camp's only been there since 82, I think it is, from memory.
He was very much part of setting up the Space Camp.
He was, yeah. He was a big advocate for it. Also going through the display, come across this one, so I thought it's be quite interesting for a lot of us here to see that. It's very difficult to take the photos without getting flashback and all those sorts of things, so I had to ask the people kindly take these photos for me, because I just couldn't get a decent image, changing lighting and all that without getting a reflection and things like that. But yeah. It's really good to spend a lot of time. There's obviously a presentation happening on the back screen here that's an audio. That goes for about 20-25 minutes, so I couldn't stand there and tape it all, but nonetheless, it was interesting to see all that. Obviously, gives you a bit of layouts, the legend on the side here, self-explanatory. So we're coming out through Space Camp and actually going to the rocket center. Saturn 5 suspended there. You've got Apollo 16 main module, I should say. All through the down the sides, you've got F1 engines, you've got the J2, you've got an Aries engine in there, shuttle engine. Lots of displays. Just on the side here, you've got one of the quarantine trailers that we put in there as well. I think that's a rocket and a Skyline. Interesting to see the underside of the main module.
Which one is that?
Apollo 16. Yeah, we see that they're wrapping up. I thought some people might appreciate some of the intricacy of some of the engines they're actually putting together there. So they said this was one of the Aries engines. The overall turbo pump, there's actually an animation on the side of the work showing you. One is supposed to go faster than the other, one side of it going faster than the other. The fuels. And most of us are always seeing the nozzles and looking at the underneath side of what happening, but not looking at the top side, looking down. And the intricacies involved there. You've got full pumps on the side there, but yeah, I thought that was quite an interesting photo, that one. After Huntsville, up to Kennedy Space Center. I arrived 1 week before the Heroes and Legends display out. But for those who have been to Kennedy Space Center before, you can see that it's totally changed on this aspect now. There used to be a building there called the early space exploration. They had a Russian Vostok capsules in there, train capsules, I believe. Didn't see that when I was going through this place, so it's obviously hidden, put away, because there are still more developments happening with Kennedy Space Center at the moment. But this is the day of the launch. Sorry, no, this one, the next slide was around then. But there was development happening with the LC-41, 39A. So the Saturn 5 building at Kennedy Space Center, there was a display working on. Nobody knew what was going on there. There was nothing to say what was happening. I found out later what it was, so we'll leave that to the slides coming up. And obviously the umbilical tower for the SLS still being worked on. So these are the photos from last year, obviously. Some of the displays are closed off here, so there are new things on. I can say that they're looking to bring in, for those who might know, what's called ATX, Astronaut Training Experience, that used to be up the road. That's 6 miles up the road from Kennedy Space Center. That's going to be down here. And can I try and work this video here? Just a short video. This is a small display they have. So just outside waiting for lights to come in. Reverse engineering, very much next to it. So basically you've got some 3D goggles on, walking around. that's the location where Curiosity has been. You can actually see on a 1:1 scale the landscape. It's really an interesting experience. For about 15 minutes. So that's what you see. Before you go in, you use your goggles and measure up with your eyes and all those sorts of things. You get about 15 minutes in there. That was only there back then. It's not there anymore. Up to KFC, went off to California Science Museum, and on my walk on the way I came in from the taxi, it dropped me off just on the other side of the centre, so I walked past a nice plane there. You walk in the entrance, got the F20 and the F5, I believe that. Obviously, a lot of these NASA sites and everything are sponsored through the science centres and everything. They always have their fair share of different space artifacts and all that, and how they dig it out. So this was the this I think. This is one that took up Ham, the chimpanzee. Walking around the place, it's a bit of a maze going through a lot of museums and things like that, just to familiar with, but there's the Endeavour. First time I saw that was back in 2007. And it's a successful launch for the museum. So you can walk right under it and everything. You can't get far enough back in the building to get the whole thing in the photo. It's just the way it's been set up and everything. But nonetheless, it's still good. Still great to get under and look at everything. Obviously a lot more happy snaps, but I'll do something that was all a bit unique. Obviously you can see the external tank that was used, like that, and they've also got access to 2 rocket boosters as well. So the plan is in the future to build a vertical stack. So that's another thing. So I expect that to happen in the next few years. So you go over there to the actual position where you can actually go through and see things at different levels and getting close to seeing. So that's going to try. They've got the land there for it anyway. Okay. My recent trip just a few weeks ago was only good for 2 days because I was coming across some deadlines. I happened to land the day before the launch, and the weather wasn't too bad, as you can see by the photos, so got to do the tour. And you can see the Falcon 9 on the launch pad, so at the back, where they're up against the Atlantic Ocean, between the 2 pads, 39A and 39B. So using the camera to zoom in as much as I could. A little bit closer, that's the best I can get. But again, being so far away and zooming in, it's really difficult to get the camera still to get some clarity. As you can see the jets on the side there for the water. And if you look carefully, you can see the leaks in there, just here. Unfortunately, 10 minutes prior to launch, just under 10 minutes prior to launch, there was too much lighting in the area, so I couldn't get to see the launch. The next window was a 1-second window on the Saturday, just after 5 o'clock, in which case I was at Orlando Airport ready to come back. That display that they were working on in the Saturn 5 building, the Kennedy Space Center, is for these guys. It's a very nice actual memorial that's been put up there. It's worth walking around through to see it. There's a lot of state-of-the-art visionary in the display. I'm not too sure of the technique, but you know, you get the frosted glass and they put it through it and it becomes opaque and non-opaque. They use that to actually use on some of these things and show different stuff. It was really nice. But obviously there's the actual doors on the Capitol sitting here. In 2014, I was fortunate enough to see this was my last launch. I saw this Capitol go up, the FT1. There is on display in the Annex series at Kennedy Space Center. So I wasn't too sure what to expect, so I just walked in. Again, a few heavy steps, probably a lot. Trying to get different angles and lighting and all the rest of it, as you can probably appreciate. But try to pick the best ones I thought everyone might appreciate. A little bit more. But so now it's just been used once, but the capsule is designed for 4 missions to turn it around and get it back together again. In the same area, there's a couple other capsules as well. Is it SAA? They call it the boilerplate from one of those stands for the CSC 100. So it's just sitting there. And next to that is this thing. This was the first Dragon capsule that actually successfully go to the International Space Station. So again, just a couple of pics. It's rather ragged and weathered and everything else with it. But there was no one there when I was actually going through it. This lining through here, I'm not too sure if someone else could help me out on that. Is that for the parachute?
Yeah,
the lining.
The bottom thing is the
for the chute.
Fire the chute out.
Yeah, that's
and
great.
the harness goes up at
yeah.
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 So
Well, that was the case.
Yeah.
And what else have we got next? Oh, the Heroes and Legends exhibition or display. We've moved all that, so there's a couple of things that are in there as well. The equipment that's used for the Mercury missions, apparently. And so just another video of this on the last day. Can I begin? Upload this? Right? Okay. It's just the queue line to the buses to go to the Saturn 5. It was like that for hours. Can I get...
What time of day is that?
Sorry?
What time of day?
I started warming up, I think it was 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Yeah. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I've gone over time.
Once again, if someone has any questions, quick question, use the mic back, please. Oh.
Thank you so much. Come back anytime. Thank you. Keep in touch. Thank
All right. Welcome, everybody. Tonight, I thought we'd just concentrate on the one part of space that's actually on the up, and that's commercial space, as opposed to government space, which is on the way the other way, going down. The first thing is just a quick Washington roundup, and the reason I put that there is really just to give a bit of context as to how it is actually impacting on commercial space. The fiscal 2018 request was for 19.1 billion. Interestingly, it's about $500 million less than the fiscal 2017. So the trend is definitely downwards, and Earth Sciences copped the belt, as did education, but others like the SLS, space ops, like commercial crew, also were affected. Senators are obviously reacting to some of those Earth Science and education reductions. But the above is combined by budgets which are likely to be flat out the next 5 years. So essentially, all your dreams of Mars, I think you can put them in your back pocket.
Yes!
And over the last month, there's been a very noticeable shift at NASA. All this big hype about Mars seems to have evaporated. So,
yes!
Okay, so those moon first advocates, well, I think you're starting to get your way. On a positive note though, and very much due to commercial space, the industry seems to be growing at about 14% per annum, which means by 2030 it's going to be a $1 trillion business. So it's, if you can get into it, it's probably the way forward.
More space debris.
More space debris. More space debris, exactly. The House approved the bill to reform and streamline commercial space. A lot of regulatory work is now going to take effect because of the rapid growth of commercialisation. Interestingly, senators approved an amendment to an Iran-Russia sanctions bill to make sure that they can still keep getting the Russian rocket engines. So, we'll put a ban on the Russians until we really need them, in which case we better take the ban off. So, of course, old-time Senator John McCain was still, bitterly opposing the purchase of Russian engines. But they are vital, obviously, for the Antares and the Atlas V, which will still keep going for another, 5 to 8 years. The chairman of the Senate Space Committee, Ted Cruz, tried to do a little bit of change to the Outer Space Treaty. The objective was to support commercialisation of space, but he really didn't get much support out of that. An executive order to recreate the Space Council, we've been talking about for a while, nothing's happened. But it is still pending and it's still going to happen. Appointment of new NASA administrator is also pending, even though having seen what's been going on, I reckon Robert Whitefoot is probably, who was the associate director, is probably not doing a bad job. Elon Musk. He resigns from the council advising President Trump in response to the withdrawal from the Paris Agreement. So he said he would, and he did. Which means that Trump continually gets surrounded by a more marginalised opinion than would otherwise have been the case with people like Musk being on the board. Commercial resupply services. This is what Stuart spoke a little bit about. SpaceX launched Falcon 9 with CRS-11 on the 3rd. One of the launches, which was one of the launches of the rapid increase of SpaceX launches in recent times. There was a second flight for a Dragon capsule, which is up there. And we had Cygnus actually depart the ISS and re-enter and burn up. So that was interesting. That was the CRS-11. There he is hanging off the space station. And here is a couple of shots of it landing. But I'd like to show you this high definition video. Love this one. So here we go. It's in this oops. Okay. There comes after. Pretty cool. Watch the puffers. Have a look down the bottom right hand corner. Look at the size of those things. That's at landing zone 1. That's the old launch complex. So very nice video there. Quite definition. Now we go on to crew transportation. This was a timeline of when they were going to do things. But interestingly enough, this was a good NASA Aerospace Safety Advisory Panel recently said that commercial crew vehicles may not be able to meet the safety thresholds that have been put in their contract. And what they were working to was a probability of 1 in 270 of a loss of crew, basically. Now the shuttle, interestingly enough, was 1 in 90. That was at the end of the shuttle program. So it's a lot safer, but they're conceding the fact that they might not be able to get to 270, but they've stressed, don't worry too much about that particular metric, there's other factors that are involved. So there you have it. NASA is likely to have issue waivers if the vehicles can't meet the loss of crew.
The shuttle ended up being 1 in 60.
I got 1 in 90, but I believe that 1 in 60.
Well, it was 2 out of 130, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. NASA unveils.
There's a chance you're right.
NASA recently unveiled a class of, or 12 astronauts from, get this, 18,000 applicants. So if you were one of the 18,000, might get reservations. Comprising of engineers, scientists, and pilots, and they begin training, a 2-year training starting in August. The class adds combat veterans, medical doctors, a submarine officer, an MIT professor, submersible expert, SpaceX launch engineer has moved across to, some would say, the dark side, a field biologist, and a planetary geologist. So they certainly have got a bit of variety in the ranks. And there they are, class of 2017, with a Orion boiler painted back. Now, Boeing, commercial crew, these are just some of the key highlights. Hasn't changed since last time, January 2018, had a board test. They're not going to have an in-flight abort. They reckon they've got enough methodology to verify that they would safely survive an in-flight abort. Uncrewed, we're looking at about June 18 and then August of the crew flight. Now, this has all been delayed. There's been no official change to this, but betting on a dollar, this will be delayed. And there it is, Starliner sitting on the Atlas. SpaceX commercial crew, March 18, has been basically slated at Kennedy Space Center for this particular flight, which is the uncrewed Dragon demo to the space station. So early 2018, a crew Dragon flight abort test will occur. So we're not sure where it's going to go fly from, but early they're going to actually fire probably one of those used boosters, Falcon 9s, and then eject the Dragon from it. And then more likely August, they'll probably fly to the space station. The idea is to have commercial services start by the end of 2018, but a lot of pundits are saying it'll go into 2019. And there it is, Dragon, crew Dragon. There it is sitting on the pad. Notice that in this picture, all the rest of the 39A launch structure is all gone. And apparently they're actually pulling bits of it down now as we speak. So the old shuttle stuff is slowly getting removed. There's another picture of it. General SpaceX. Well, what can I say? All in black occurred. And you'll notice from CRS-11 to the last, 1, 2, 3 launches in June, pretty amazing launch rate. So they're really trying to do this once every fortnight launch. The highlight for, and each mission has a highlight, which is interesting. CRS-11 had a flight-proven Dragon. Then we had the Bulgaria sat, which was a booster recovery, if you recall, so it's the second time that's landed. Then we had Iridium this morning, and that had used the first time on the West Coast auto flight termination software, which is a lot more reliable than having a bloke sitting on a button ready to blow up the rocket if something goes wrong. And so the launch rate is now basically increasing, and we've got the other ones coming up. Early July, we've got Eagleset 35. They won't be recovered because they're going into high orbits. CRS-12 is coming up. In August, interesting one for the US Air Force, could be launching the X-37B. Rumours have it that it might even come into July, so not sure how that's possible. They were just awarded the contract some weeks ago, and yet they can already fit an X-37 into a Falcon. So, and by the way, United Launch Alliance didn't get a Guernsey into the tender, so it was a sole supply contract for SpaceX. Mind you, ULA would compete there. Another story. The other thing, the orange ones are really good to look out for. Likely October for Falcon Heavy. That's kind of been sort of announced, and so we'll be looking at that. And then we've got an Air Force launch, and that's what's really driving Falcon Heavy. No earlier than September, that'll happen. Then we've got 2018, we've got Grey Dragon, flying a couple of paying people around the moon on a free return trajectory. And 2020, we've got Red Dragons, probably two of them, in the start of the window and towards the end of the window. Before Bulgaria sat, Elon Musk tweeted, he didn't think it was going to go because of the forces. So, but it did. and they got it back and missed the deck a little bit, was way off centre. He said it's either a bit of a gust of wind at the end or maybe a malfunction on the rocket. Iridium 2, very. We've not heard much about it, but this morning's launch, he basically said that they were having trouble with the recoverable parachutes, but they reckon by the end of the year they should be able to get it. Steerable parachute. So and there's a couple of pictures that you'll see on YouTube now that have got views of the Earth from the fairing. So he's really going to, I think this is the next evolution, not let alone recovering the second stage. And they're actually looking for more space at Port Canaveral to store these rockets. He's going to have a hell of a lot of them when he starts launching the Falcon Heavy. And there's Bulgaria set. I'm not going to play this video. There it is, a little bit off centre, but it landed. Apparently all the shock absorbing crumple material in the legs were all used up in that particular landing. There's Iridium this morning, and it was only about 600 mil off centre. And this is X-37. Going to fly again. It's SpaceX this time.
Do we know if they use the Roomba?
Sorry?
That they use that little rocket factory thing?
I haven't heard it. I haven't heard. Sorry?
Use the microphone.
He asked if they use that little jigger to I don't even know what it's used for, so. No, don't worry. We'll hear about it when it happens. Okay, moving on. Texas Highway is being upgraded. He's constructing another launch site down in Texas. Okay, so he's actually putting some money in there now. This is Elon Musk to make it happen. And they're upgrading SLS, or Space Launch Complex 40, which you remember in September blew up and wrecked it. Well, he's getting that going as well. So he's going to have Kennedy Space Center. He's got the one in Texas. He's got Vandenberg, and he's going to have Launch Complex 40 operation. 4 launch sites where he can launch his rockets. And landing zone 1 is being expanded. That's after the September. Made a bit of a mess, but that's going to be upgraded the same way as 39A has been upgraded, which means they'll be able to reduce their schedule time. So this will be not just fixed, but upgraded. Next one is, now, this is landing zone 1, okay? And you can see the new 2 pads. There was an environmental impact statement that recently went out, and I hadn't heard any more about it. And then Michael yesterday said, hey, look at this. This was taken in June. And clearly, the top of the picture, there's another pad going on, another landing pad. So he's going to build another one down the bottom, and he's going to have the ability of recovering Falcon Heavies in low orbit. Because the theory with Falcon Heavies is you get 2 back, and the other one lands on the drone ship. Blue Origin, I don't know if you know, but he had a bit of a setback. He's testing his BD4 engine. It's a methane liquid oxygen motor, and the power pack went on him the other day. And you know, everyone sort of reported bad press, but I was impressed by a US commander who basically said the country needed to be willing to accept the risk if it's to remain in world power and space fusion. We've lost the ability to go fast, test and fail, he said, in the speed at which the US developed early ICBMs, you know, in the good old days, despite numerous failures. He also criticised the media coverage of that particular failure, and he said, Blue Origin just had a failure, son of a gun, that's part of learning. And I really wish they'd go back to this philosophy and not have big headlines when something blows up or something doesn't work. If you remember the 60s, there were more pictures of things blowing up than there were of things going up.
The counter issue with this is that the AR1
correct
is going really well.
Yeah, I'll come back to that. And there's the some of the rockets that he's working. That's moving ahead. We finished by the end of the year, and that's exactly what we were talking about. Aerojet Rocketdyne is actually a competitor to powering the Vulcan rocket, which is being developed by ULA, and it's actually passed its critical design review, and so they've been testing components. So it's going really well. and they're all sort of competing to get down selected by ULA as the rocket of choice, rocket engine of choice. There it is. All below 10K, what have they been doing? They're going to resume their Antares launches. They used to use they did use the Atlas for a while, but they're going to go back to the Antares, and they've got the new upgraded Russian engines, which will make it really worth their while. Sierra Nevada, they also passed a key milestone recently, so they're well on their way to flight testing again back at Edwards Air Force Base or Armstrong, and to produce this thing, which will be the cargo resupply 2 contract. Virgin Airlines, they're still talking about flying people at the end of next year, but you know they're still trying to. They've been conducting tests. They've done some drop tests. They haven't fired the engines yet, but that's imminent. So we'll wait to see what comes out of that one. ULA, the company is has not selected to provide the engine for Vulcan rocket yet. But what the Air Force has said is we're not funding multiple engines. Whoever loses, and we're not going to fund it any further. We want a launch system. Again, the restructuring, there's a lot of restructuring going on in the big contractors at the moment. And dare I say, I think SpaceX has shaken the whole core of the space industry. And it's quite surprising. Wherever you go, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, wherever you go, they're restructuring. So he's had an amazing impact on the industry. There's a Falcon rocket. Straight launch, well, they rolled out their giant aircraft. There it is. That is, now, I'll show you the comparison. They started off as 2 747s. I don't know what happened. I know the engines are 747 engines, but the bodies are, I don't even know how they derived those and how they got into those. But that's the sort of comparison. So you can see that it's the longest wingspan aircraft ever built, but it's not the longest in length. And I'm not quite sure what the weight is, so it's, when you hear it's the biggest aircraft around, biggest wingspan.
Can you just read out the names of those 5 down the bottom?
One's a Spruce Goose, the orange one. Yeah. The Antonov 225, which carried Baran, is the green. Not sure. I think the 8380 might be the red one, I guess. So, I don't know the grey one. The grey one would be a 747. No, it's a lousy. It's not a very good resolution shot. The Lunar X Prize, couple of changes. Space IL from Israel, can't launch in time, hoping the extension is granted. Won't happen. As you know, if they don't launch to the moon by 2017, the whole thing falls through. But if they get to the moon, someone might win a prize. But Indus from India is still waiting on government Israel approval. So they haven't got a Guernsey on the launch either. So it's going to be interesting whether that actually turns into something. Rocket Labs, they actually launched on the 25th of May. I'm not going to talk about it from New Zealand, which is a good thing. There's a broker, a spaceflight broker, who's purchased some electrons to use for sales purposes. There it is. There's the launch. Vector. They, again, in the small satellite, every man his dogs into this now, small satellite launches, but they've started building their wares. And the last bit's general. Startup company plans to fly some cremated remains, so you can put that in your will if you like. You can scan it on the Earth orbit. When they do the moon, that would be of interest. Scan it on the moon. Colorado Airport, again, flavour of the month. It's one of the airports in England, they're onto it. They're all certifying airports to be able to take space things, planes and whatever. Luxembourg has decided it's going to create a bit of a space program, but what it's going to do is going to go for a niche in asteroid mining, space resources. And NanoRacks was a really interesting one. I don't know how many times they've done this, but they're looking at converting a central upper stage into a space station module. I'm bloated, I don't know how they're going to do that. I think they've done hundreds of these exercises, certainly back in the 70s, to do stuff like this with extended boosters, but never got anywhere. But they think they can do it, and there it is. So, central upper stage, where it's me. There's another group called ARCA, who's planning to fly a demonstration single stage to orbit rocket. This won't be single stage first demo, but they will use the aerospike engines, which, if you know about these engines, they are highly efficient in both atmospheric and upper in vacuum space without having different sized valves. The other one is Astrobionic. They were an old contender for the X Prize, but they are going to look at gigabit transmissions from the moon. So that's something. Here's the ARCA spacecraft. There it is, with the aerospike engines. This is the aerospike engines. If you remember, I think it was the X-33. The Skatworks X-33 was...
The Venture Star, yeah, it was a J2 turbo pump.
Was it?
Yeah, it was actually J2 engine.
This was the only part of that particular technology that matured. Everything else, they couldn't make the composite tanks and such stuff, so they had to abandon it. But the aerospike engines was a success. And there's the that little, that's what I actually wrote it. That's it. That's the update.
Okay, so now we've got Andrew Rennie. Eagle. Sorry, Eagle.
I don't have so many slides, it's a good news. Unfortunately, I have to go to some historical depth to tell you how fusion super heavy launch vehicle in Russia depended on the philosophy of old-fashioned Soviet design. The good news, like I said, I have only 5 slides. Okay. The history of Soviet super heavy launch vehicle obviously wasn't quite successful. When we're talking about super heavy launch vehicle, Soviet Union wasn't able to successfully launch none of them. The biggest failure in lunar race belonged to launch vehicle called N1, which had been designed by Korolev originally, and unfortunately hasn't been completed by his deputy Dmitry Mishin. We all know one of the reasons why Russia didn't reach the moon, because they didn't use hydrogen technology on upper stages. But what's not quite known well, actually the Soviet Union worked on different engines, and 3 stages supposed to be equipped by hydrogen and oxygen engines. So if Mission had a chance to complete this rocket to 1970 and make it space-worthy, Soviet N1 probably would look more and more like NASA Saturn V rocket, with different variations. And in this table you can see the difference between different engines on different stages. Both variants have 5 stages, but for this one, okay. If you look at this option, Block E, Block G, and Block B has been equipped by hydrogen engines. So they didn't have anything similar to Saturn IV upper stage, but Block G and Block D are supposed to produce the same effect what Saturn IV engine is supposed to have. The legacy of this
Interestingly, there are two pieces of hardware from legacy of this vehicle which actually run at least up to this day. Block B became a workhorse for Proton launch vehicle upper stage for the need plus vehicles, and one of the and if you look at this engine, it became foundation of the technology which Russia sold to India, and India developed their own indigenous cryogenic capability which is using right now. The second attempt of creating a super heavy launch vehicle was more successful, and this was actually launch vehicle Energia flew in two configurations only twice, but both. This is a rocket which has impeccable track record. Two launches, two successful launches. Second launch bring Soviet Space Shuttle Buran. First launch rocket did not have much any problem, but unfortunately it cannot carry a payload directly to close orbit, so payload managed to misfire, and instead of increasing orbit, it fell to Pacific Ocean.
What was the payload on that payload?
Okay, payload was demo of the military battleship laser station, which was Russian Soviet for Reagan Star Wars program.
And they never actually repeated that launch.
Because Gorbachev did not stop all funding for military program. So Energia unfortunately became a symbol of what happened later on with USSR. The good news legacy from this program, you can see these boosters. This is actually blocks of first stage of now Ukrainian rocket, which was originally Soviet rocket powered with engine B-170. So now, hopefully Saturn would be lucky, but and they have plans. As you can see, Energia family have huge rocket, surprisingly called Vulcan as well, but it's not ULA, it was Soviet version of Vulcan. This rocket is supposed to be a backbone of transportation system for modern exploration, and in heaviest configuration they're supposed to have capability of 200 tons to low Earth orbit. Okay, this is space Lego which Russian designers try to play now. The problem with current state of affairs this current Russian super heavy launch vehicle program, the problem is, as usual, is funding. For decadal program from 2017-2025, there is no plans to launch super heavy launch vehicle right in this year, so we're talking about future. What they're trying to do, they're trying to reuse as much as possible technology which is available. And this is actually a master plan from Energia. What you can see here, it's actually the same, not exactly the same. It's modernized engines which flew on Energia. They call a V171NV, and for modernized V for Vostochny, I believe. Russian spaceport on the east. And this is the two proposals which have been done by Energia recently. The difference between two versions, one of the rocket has 3 stages, another rocket has 4 stages. What they try to do, they try to
create check 5 boosters from zenith, increase diameter of the booster from 3.9 to 4.1 meter, and increase amount of fuel. It's exactly the same layout which Angara has, with one major difference. They try to use hydrogen stage as the upper stage. And unfortunately, engines are not available for this stage yet. They try to develop them, and while this plan could work, they started to, after events in 2014 and events in Ukraine, they cannot use the rockets anymore. So they started, after 30 years of development, they started to use, to try to build a sort of a Russian version of original Soviet and later Ukrainian version of Zenit. So what happened last month, Russia finally made agreement with Kazakhstan that Russian version of Zenit, which called in Kazakh language Sulfar, which is translated as a falcon. There is a little bit sort of irony here. Would be launched from Baikonur, would not be launched from Vostochny, and there is a reason for this. In 2004, Europeans make a study when they decided to use Soyuz to launch from Kourou international cruise. The problem with manned version of Soyuz was prohibited amount of money they need to deploy a big fleet of ships in order to provide certain risky operations. The same story happened here. So after running feasibility study, they realized that running this spacecraft from Vostochny is not quite feasible because they have to invest in huge rescue and search operations. So again, we're talking about the case of the space hustling. So how much effort Russia spent to gain independent access to space and build Vostochny? Now they're falling back to Baikonur. As a result, maiden launch of Federation, which happened in 2022, they scrapped the idea to launch it on Angara A5, and it should be launched on main version of Sulfar. Any questions?
Now, I heard that Putin's put a bit of money into the development of it. Is it significant, or is it just a gesture?
They have a discretionary fund to be spent after 2021. I believe idea of super heavy launch vehicle is backed by Putin, but you never know what's happening after next presidential elections. They obviously lost momentum with the development of super heavy launch vehicle because decision was made not to make any decisions approximately from 2011. They were in start and stop mode, and they lost momentum for the last 6 years.
Should we buy a few vehicles perhaps? The Merlin engine?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Eva, that was fantastic as always. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. It's very quiet downstairs and we've decided to close down. So we actually ended the booking till 10 p.m, but normally it's cranky around downstairs and you sort of get a bit of leeway, but unfortunately it's not the case downstairs tonight. So we're going to have to call an end to the meeting. So I'd like to thank all the speakers tonight and all the people who worked together getting the event meeting all organised. Hope you enjoyed yourself. Once again, if you're a membership due, more than welcome to have you a new membership or renewal or get some new people. And we'll be back here on July the 24th. And thanks everyone. Good night.
Bye.